Hey everybody, welcome to a new video. We are continuing over with the build guides, or rather champion reviews, whatever you might want to call them, with the new stuff we got recently after a massive round of shard pooling, right? So I've been talking about Harima first and foremost, then we talked about Mordecai, and today I come to talk about one that we all have at this point, which is going to be Leminisi, right? So, of course, being a free champion, there's a lot of mixed feelings about her. The last free champion we got just like this was it Arthur, actually? I'm not entirely sure at this point. I think we got Arthur most recently, and then before that we had Alice, right? So both Alice and Arthur turned out to be pretty solid. Alice in general is a massive beast, and Arthur has a lot of uses in pretty much all forms of content. If you want to join my team in Raid Shadow Legends, click the link in the description to get a free Narma as well as Anax, Uugo, and Mausoleum Mage as you progress through the game. Here's what you need to do. First of all, log out of Plarium Play on PC and uninstall. Then click the link in the description and register a brand new email. Launch Raid and complete the tutorial, and then go to your inbox and claim your first champ. Don't miss out on your chance to get a fresh start in Raid with a free Narma and 3 epic champs. Click on my link right now. Now, what about Leminisi? How good is she actually? Well, look at those reviews, man. Most people are not happy with her. She's barely usable in literally anywhere in the game. She's being called out for needing buffs literally everywhere. Let's see if it's really that bad. Now, she does have a 4 as a rating in Hell Hades, but people are really calling for buffs on her. She's a free champion, which is usually supposed to be like something people are going to be wanting to get into the game for or just back into it, and definitely not the most exciting champion. She is an attack champion from the Sylvan Watchers faction, which is also of the Force affinity, which is kind of interesting because I think there's nobody else who feels that entire combination of all these circumstances: attack, Force affinity, Sylvan Watchers. In any case, that doesn't really make her an A+ or in anything like special, right? So let's go through her kit real quick. Now, she is going to be having a double attack on the A1, and then if the target is under a shield buff, this is going to be decreasing the value of that shield by 10%, but only with a 50% chance of that happening. Now, 10% shield value decreasing, that sounds absolutely bad. Like, why would you want this in any case when you have something like this? Ignore shield buffs. Like, straight up. Like, yeah, anyways, I mean, I guess not everybody can go through shield buffs like Morax, so you would want to be working through those, but this is all overall just so much worse. Anyways, we'll also ignore 50% of the target's resistance if the target is from the Corrupted Alliance. And we keep on with these shenanigans, which we already had. The previous champion, which I forgot the name about, the dwarf over here, which we recently got, Tholin, as a free champion. Honestly, I mean, it was like a fusion champion, which had all the Corrupted Alliance shenanigans right into him. So if somebody's from the Corrupted Alliance, you got extra effects. This is following along those guidelines because the Corrupted Alliance is supposed to be the enemy in the dungeon event we have currently running, right? So everybody from the Corrupted Alliance is going to have a harder time trying to fight versus Leminisi, but that doesn't really like justify, like, this buff alone here or this effect alone is really kind of just whatever, right? It's going to be ignoring resistance. Like, why do you care about resistance anyways? Now, if the target is not under any shield buffs, each hit will ignore 10% of the target's defense instead, and that is the goal, right? I guess that is like the whole goal, to be reducing the target's shield so you get to the point where you're gonna be triggering these target's defense ignore. But in any case, I mean, it's only gonna be happening 50% of the time and only for like 10%. It's just not good, man. It needs to be a lot bigger of like a defense shred, or just not shred, is like just ignore, and a lot bigger like numbers everywhere altogether. Now, A2, double attack, each hit 100% chance of removing 2 random buffs from the target, which is great. I mean, just dispelling the enemy is not bad whatsoever. There's many uses for her. Just alone from this ability, you could already make her be, I don't know, I guess like the reviews are really bad because the community is not really feeling it, but this ability alone already makes her a decent champion. Now, the thing about this ability is that you can already also get that same effect from the A1 on Alice. and that's another free champion which does a lot of other things as well. Yeah, I mean, this is just a random chance of decreasing the random duration of the target's debuff. It's not the same exact thing, but it kind of works the same way, right? It's a little bit of a dispel onto the enemy. Now, this ability also has a 50% chance of ignoring the target's resistance once again if the target is from the Corrupted Alliance. And then if this skill deals more, or rather this skill deals more damage equal to the value of the target's current turn meter, right? So this is not like a cannot ignore. It's like straight up 50% of the target's resistance will be ignored only if it's from the Corrupted Alliance, right? So even when it's from the Corrupted Alliance, it's not a cannot be resisted effect. So yeah, it's just not enough, man. It's like halfway there. It's like the weak version of buffs. It just feels bad. In any case, this damage being higher whenever the target's turn meter is filled up, I guess it's like decent. It makes it be a big hit, but only sometimes, right? So it's like everything just feels weird about her. And then finally we have this thing. AoE attack, double hit, 100% chance of applying 100% heal reduction debuff for 2 turns. Not bad, I mean, it's alright. The second hit will be having a 50% chance of placing a block buffs debuff for 2 turns, and then will also ignore, once again, 50% of the target's resistance if the target is from the Corrupted Alliance. This is a very good ability for PvP, only in a 3-turn cooldown, not bad whatsoever. Also 100% chance of having this effect happening, and 75% chance of having the second effect happening, so it's not bad whatsoever. But again, I guess you could make this Corrupted Alliance thing be a cannot resist. It would just make things a lot more consistent in general. It just doesn't really feel great in any sense. And finally, we do have the passive, where she's going to be receiving 15% less damage from enemies under heal reduction debuffs, which is pretty much going to be the entire enemy team. And then filling this champion's turn meter by 5% whenever an enemy receives a shield buff or is healed. So I guess she's kind of like supposed to counter people that like shield up, and also like anybody who's a support who's going to be healing. It's just not enough, man. It's only like 5%, 15% less damage under heal. It's just not good enough, man. Everything just kind of feels lackluster. You do have an attack aura, which is just like not even as good as Alice's. Yeah, I don't know, man. Anyways, she is an attack champion, so let's real quick talk about her stats, right? So you would need to be putting her on enough, and first and foremost, enough accuracy for her to be doing anything, right? As her skills are going to be having negative effects, you do need accuracy still, even though you do have the target resistance ignore. The accuracy needs to be met in order for these effects to happen, so you will be having the turn meter control, or rather, not the control, I mean, that's just like a buff for yourself. You will be having the debuff removal effect, or rather the buff removal effect happening, the shield ignore over here as well, applying the debuffs. You need to be meeting the accuracy requirements with all of this. Now, she is supposed to be an attack champion, and therefore you will be wanting to be scaling up her crit rate and the crit damage as per usual, as well as the attack percentage, as that is what she scales off of literally everywhere. And finally, you would only want to be scaling up the attack percentage as well as the speed. I guess the accuracy is just like a must anyways, because of otherwise she's gonna be a lot less useful. The A3 will not be doing anything, but overall I just don't really see the value on her that much. That's kind of like the entire build you would do on her. It would be like accuracy, crit rate, crit damage, attack percentage, and speed, and that would be kind of just about it. But in any case, what sets would be good on her? I mean, it is recommended to put her on the usual stuff for an attack champion, which is Savage for the ignore defense, or Lethal, which kind of does the same amount of whatever it is. It kind of works the same way. Do I even have a piece of Lethal gear? I guess I don't. Anyways, Cruel would also work alright, I guess. Not just not as great. Because it's just not that much ignore enemy defense. You're also kind of being told to put yourself into Merciless gear, which would not be bad with that attack increase, the crit damage, the speed, 30% chance of increasing a random skill cooldown. I wouldn't really waste my Merciless pieces on her. But that is, of course, something that would get a champion like this, which is scaling off of attack and just an attack champion in general, to be good enough. Perception gear would also be a nice complement, because, of course, you're getting the accuracy and the speed on her from that. And then anything else, which is kind of like more endgame-ish, I think it's like not really worth mentioning. I guess, yeah, that would kind of be just about it. Overall, I feel like she's definitely a weak champion, which doesn't really shine anywhere. I'll still be getting some gear onto her and leveling her up eventually. It just doesn't feel like she's gonna be useful anywhere. I don't know. I had a hunch that she might have a space in my team. I still need to be seeing the damage. I don't know the scalings, if they're good or not. I mean, according to Hell Hades, she has a 2.1 scaling on the A1. She does have a 3 scaling on the A2, and she does have a 2 scaling, or rather 2 times the attack scaling on the A3. All of them are being called as like legendary, godlike, and strong, so she does have good scalings overall. It's just that she doesn't contribute in any really big, like, good way. She doesn't bring any buffs whatsoever to the team. The debuffs she brings, they're not the greatest. Overall, she kind of just like, all she's there to do is like dispel the enemy, removing some enemy debuffs, which you have so many other champions which kind of do the same in a better way. Anyway, she kind of just feels bad.